Dennis, thanks very much for joining us. Looking at the Dutch market specifically, Dennis, what are you seeing there in terms of some of the key trends?
Within the Dutch market, I think what has been very interesting to see is the large amount of investments into the residential market. It was between 7 and 8 billion of investments into the market in 2020. But what I see in the Netherlands, and it comes back to these supply-demand imbalances, I would say, especially in the residential sector, where there's a massive shortage of housing, which has driven house prices up significantly, even despite the pandemic of this year. And if you look the same trends in the other sectors, if we go to logistics, for example, there's been a lot of demand for last mile logistics, for light industrial, etc. So the demand is still very robust and the supply is pretty constrained. There's no signs of oversupply that we have seen in the current data that we're looking at. And the same is actually the case for offices. Of course, what we just highlighted, this whole working from home impact still needs to unravel, and probably we'll see that once the pandemic is over. But for now, if we just look at the supply side is very constrained in the Netherlands. And a complete different story from after the GFC, when vacancy levels were very high. But there's also a particular debate around, okay, which part of the vacancy is cyclical and which part is really being structural in a way. And I think that the Netherlands has done a great job in that, reducing the structural vacancy by conversion to other uses, predominantly, of course, residential. So from supply demand, I think the market looks very robust in what we see. And of course, there will be cherry picking in locations where I can see good central locations with a lot of different functions close together will be beneficial, and think about mixed use properties, I think will gain quite some attraction. And if you go more to the niche sector, I think also the life science sector is a very attractive one in the current environment.
Great. Thanks very much for sharing your views today. Thank you, Dennis.